I'm Kelly Worthman in the CBSN Denver studio. Recently on The Late Show, Stephen Colbert talked about a Colorado scientist who taught artificial intelligence how to generate pickup lines. Just listen to some of the results.
Can I see your parts list? It is urgent that you become a professional athlete. 2017 Rugboat two-tone necktie shirt. You look like a thing, and I love you. Hey. My name is John Smith. Will you sit on my bread box while I cook, or is there some kind of speed limit on that thing?
There's no shortage of entertainment with that guy. Well, joining me now is the brains behind these funny, flirtatious sayings, Colorado research scientist and author Janelle Shane. So, Janelle, thank you so much for being with us. I mean, my goodness, I'm laughing watching that over again. I'm curious, what was your reaction to some of your AI study being used on The Late Show, and did you see it when it aired?
I did not. I found out about it later. And I think the best part for me actually was the laughing in the background and the fact that he couldn't keep a straight face during some of them. Like, that makes me feel pretty proud.
Absolutely. I don't know how anybody can keep a straight face. What was it? I like your face or something about that? I just think it's great. So let's talk about your study in layman's terms. How did you even come up with this idea?
Well, this was actually something I had tried a couple of years ago with a much simpler AI. And it had come up with some kind of garbled things that, it couldn't quite even string a sentence together with real words. And so I would get things like, you must be a Tringle because you're the only thing here. Tringle, what's that? We don't know. It was trying to sound like English. And so I wanted to see what would happen if I tried this experiment again on a much more modern AI. So something that had been trained on a lot of internet text, knew a lot about English language. Would its pickup lines start sounding really human, or would they be way different?
So how does it all work, Janelle? How did this come together?
So this is what I was using this time it's a kind of AI that looked at a lot of internet text and learned how to predict what comes next in any given chunk of internet text. You give it the beginning of an article, the beginning of a sentence. It has to try to guess what the rest of that is like. So it will, in theory, know if it's doing a cooking blog or if it's doing a news report, or even what the topic of that news report is and what kind of characters and countries it should involve in that. So with the pickup lines, my guess was that it had seen enough examples of lists of pickup lines on the internet that once I gave it the introduction that these are the top pickup lines of 2021, for example, here's number one, period, and let it fill in the rest of that text. My guess was that it's going to know what a list of pickup lines should look like and be able to fill in the rest from its internet training.
Well, I came up with, you look like a thing and I love you. So I don't know what that says about pickup lines, but I like that one. Now, we also stumbled upon some of those one-word candy heart messages that were also generated from AI. Some of those results include evil, unbelief, and yeet. So how long have you generated these Valentine's Day hearts? They are interesting to say the least.
Yeah, well, I've had a lot of fun with those because back when these algorithms were a lot simpler, these short phrases were still something it could kind of do. I mean, one of the things it came up with was love 2,000 hogs, yeah. So, or another one was like bog love. So, but it could kind of do it. Even the simpler, the simpler algorithms could handle that. So that's why I keep returning to candy hearts to kind of see how they're getting along and see if they're getting any more human-like or staying weird.
Well, do you have any other fun projects, weird projects that are in the works?
Oh, I always have I always have a lot of fun just with whatever the latest memes are. So I had one, there was a meme going around like saying, cautioning people, just because you're vaccinated, that doesn't mean it's okay to, and then people would fill in the blank. So I gave this meme to this AI, which had been trained before COVID existed. So it was really interesting to see what it would come up with as what you could still not do if you're vaccinated. And it came up with, you cannot rub vanilla cream all over your body and then change your species. So.
Well, you can't, so I guess that's true, but that's awesome. And, I got to ask one last question for you, Janelle. Of all these pickup lines that have been generated, are you aware if anybody's actually used them? The one time I know somebody successfully used a pickup line was when they happened to be connected on one of these internet sites with someone else who had also read the pickup lines and responded with an AI pickup line of their own. And so I think they hit it off through that. Well, that's awesome. Look at you making connections, and AI is helping all the way. Well, thank you so much, Janelle, for your time. And if you want to follow more AI humor, we have all the information at cbsdenver.com. We'll be right back.